Hey guys, and welcome to an Aspie's point of view where I give you my opinion on stuff. So, I wanted to follow in the tradition of the last couple of weeks and react to last night's episode of The Good Doctor. I am even more pissed off this week than I have been the last couple of weeks. But again, I want to start with the good. So, tonight we saw what is, in my opinion, an actual autistic meltdown. Sean was trying to be in control. He was trying to be assertive, but in control. He lost control slowly, and you saw him just get to the point where everything went to hell, and he was curled up in the corner with his comfort object, trying his hardest to calm himself down. And that's why I always say they're not tantrums, they're meltdowns. They're something that we can't prevent, and there's something that we're not throwing a tantrum because we didn't get our way and mommy won't give us a cookie. We are losing control, and you watched as he slowly lost control, and that was something that I do want to compliment them on. They did a great job of that. That being said, what completely pissed me off was that Sean was trying to explain that he is a surgeon. That is his calling. That was what he was trained to do. And Dr. Hahn was basically instigating him to keep going. It really seemed like Dr. Hahn was poking the bear. And it got to the point that he threatened to call security. And he said he had respect for Sean, and so he was going to give him one more chance to walk away and not say anything. He was basically telling Sean, if you continue to go against what I believe is best for you, I'm going to fire you. And that is 100% wrong. And I want to go back to the story I told a couple of weeks ago about me losing a job that I felt I was really good for because of my autism. And I want to say that Sean did something that I never could. Sean said, this is what I'm meant to do. This is who I am. I need to do this. And I never did that. I never stood up for myself. I allowed myself to be escorted out of the building and never went back in and never applied for another job in that field again. And I applaud the writers for giving Sean that courage, for giving Sean that story arc where he did stand up for himself. Even if he wasn't listened to, he was able to do something that I never could. What I loved was Claire at the very end, when she came into the locker room and just without saying a word, picked up all of Sean's things and put them back in his bag, and then sat down at a respectful distance away next to him. It was the perfect way to show him, I'm here for you, but I'm not going to intrude. And that's very important. And the reason that's important is because when someone who is autistic is having a meltdown, we tend to get very overstimulated. And so for a person to walk in and start talking to us, or for a person to walk in and touch us, it's going to be even more off-putting and upsetting than it usually is. And so what I have found is the best responses to me is when someone just lets me know they're in the room and they're there if I need them. But they let me work through whatever I have to work through without them intruding, without them going and trying to stop what's happening, because really you can't stop what's happening when someone is having a meltdown. They have to get through it themselves. And Claire allowed Sean to do that while showing him that she was there for him. Now, what I still don't understand is Dr. Hahn insisting that Sean standing up for himself was childish and was showing that he doesn't know how to communicate, I think that that's anything but childish. I think that what I did, giving up and letting go of my dream, that's childish. That's showing that I don't know how to communicate. But saying, no, this is what I'm meant to do with my life, that is not childish. That takes maturity, and that takes heart, and that takes bravery. And again, even though Sean is just a character, I am proud of Sean. And I'm proud of what the character of Sean is doing for the autistic community. I do feel like this storyline is going to open people's eyes to the injustices that go on in the work world because people know that we are on the spectrum. And that's definitely something that I've always said you have to be careful of. When do I tell my employer that I have autism? Do I tell my employer that I have autism? Do I wait until there's a problem to tell my employer that I have autism? Because you don't want to be seen differently. You don't want to be treated differently. You don't want them to be waiting for you to fail. You want them to be watching for you to succeed. And I feel like Dr. Hahn came into the situation waiting for Sean to fail. And I think that with everything Sean did in this episode, 2 amazing saves that he had, he proved today, or in last night's episode, and he's proved in the last several episodes, that he is supposed to be a surgeon. And for Dr. Hahn to just completely ignore this because of his preconceived notion of who Sean is and what a person with autism is and is not capable of, drives me up the walls. And so, again, I don't know how the show is going to continue on at this point. My hope is that they get a case that they truly cannot solve, and they go to Sean on their hands and knees begging for him to come back and fix what they can't. Because at this point in time, the only way that Dr. Hahn can redeem himself in my eyes is to admit his fault, is to admit he's wrong, is to admit he is not the one who gets to make the decision about what Sean gets to do in life. If Sean was a liability to his patients, if Sean was making mistakes in the operating room, if Sean was really having difficulties performing the tasks of his job, I would be fine with him as a supervisor removing Sean from that position. But Sean was not having mistakes in his job. Sean had one day, Dr. Hahn wasn't even there for it, where he had a meltdown, and he came back from it and was able to get everything under control again. And Sean isn't the best at talking to people. Well, again, I say, how many surgeons are out there who have a crap bedside manner and don't know how to talk to a patient to save their lives? So I will leave you all with this for the week. I think that each week the storyline has gotten progressively worse and has gotten progressively more infuriating. But I am hoping that there is a good resolution at the end of all of this. And if you have any stories of your own to tell, if you have any comments at all, leave them down below. Turn on the subscribe button if you liked this video so that you can get notifications when I upload a new video. And hit the like button if you liked hearing my point of view, because I really like making these reviews for you guys. So until next time, this has been an Aspie's point of view. Good night, guys.